we are still in the pandemic. We've been in the pandemic for two and a half years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's looking like it's never going to end. We're just going to adjust to the pandemic being what it is.
The new normal.
Right. I know for myself, I've learned a hell of a lot about myself these last 2 years. Like it's going to be one of those things that like 10 years from now, I'm going to look back on when the pandemic started and how those next 2 years unfolded. And I'm going to look back at like those were transformative years for me. Yeah. And I know when I have conversations with people in general that like the pandemic has been a staple for a lot of people for just a lot of self-reflection and a lot of growth.
Yes.
So like, what have you learned about yourself mentally and spiritually? You know what I'm saying? Just about Jasmyn, specifically like due to the pandemic, the stillness, the change.
Yes, a lot. I would say I've learned a lot because like while it was also the pandemic, I had the unique experience of becoming a mother 2 weeks before the pandemic started.
Oh, you got I had my little boy a week after the pandemic started.
Right. So you understand that like I couldn't quite associate what I was going through with like being a new parent or the pandemic or both.
Talk about it.
So it was trying for sure, the isolation piece because like, you know, I'm an educator, so I talk all day. I'm with kids all day long, teachers all day.
Yes.
So to go from that much noise to that much silence was like, it took a lot to adjust to, I'll say. But I think if I had to say the main thing I've learned is to I've learned really what mental health is. I think a lot of people talk about mental health because it's such a buzzword and it's you know, protect your mental health but like no one's really doing the work. You know, nobody's really getting to the bottom of like why you are responding the way you are or feeling the way you are. And so I had no choice because it had the responsibility. Now I'm a mother. Now I'm an example to something that matters in a different way than my students. And so, it really taught me to prioritize my mental health and honor what I'm feeling, like honor those boundaries because they're necessary. And I think that because I'm able to really understand my own mental health, I've been able to like bring that back to my school and like let them know that what you're feeling is valid. I'm real affirming in a way that's not like cliche, but like intentional of like, no, if I was you, I'd be mad too. No, you have a right to be irritated right now. Like I say those type of things because you will be at war with yourself, and that'll be what really is paralyzing you. Because prior to the pandemic, there was a lot that I wanted to do that I told myself I wasn't ready for. And I think I had to get to the bottom of that self-talk. And so it's hard to really set the time aside to do that because life moves so fast. But then voila, the pandemic hit, and it really just slowed it down.
Was it a combination of the stillness and the motherhood that, you know, made you want to be intentional about doing your own work and doing your own healing? Because, like, listen, you talking about having a baby a week prior. Again, I'm getting ready to have my second child. I can 100% admit I had no idea what postpartum was, any of that. So to be in the house and be in a relationship, you know, with a woman, that's part of the process is postpartum and like having no idea really what that looks like. I learned a hell of a lot, you know, just from being right there with my wife. And I couldn't imagine what that was like, being a mom with a newborn, teaching kids, trying to get back to school, trying to understand what school is going to be like.
Right. Having to
what
relearn my career. That was also a thing.
Right.
But it was tough. It was tough. Like the first 6 months of it was very difficult. But then there was a point, I would say maybe 7 months, 8 months into the pandemic, where I was just excited to be back in the work because I had been on maternity leave and then the pandemic hit. And so I didn't get to go back. So I really, really missed it. And so I would say after a year into the pandemic, I realized that, this is a game changer. Like the pandemic was a win for me in a way of like, I'm about to trailblaze all of this. Like you can't tell me how to do it because you didn't do it.
Right.
I did though. And so I used that to my advantage for sure.
So is that how creating content and just like the urban educator and everything, is that how everything kind of came about, was due to the pandemic?
It was solidified. Like I really found my lane. Before it was just an idea on paper. Like it was just like.
What you mean? Why was it solidified?
because I would say during the pandemic was really when I started to like do it. It wasn't just talking about what I wanted to do. It was like, I'm about to do it. And just, I went for it. And I also found a really good community with Black Girls Teach, which completely altered my life, the connections that I made with Black Girls Teach. And so that community combined with that time that I had.
What's Black Girls Teach? Break that down for me.
Black Girls Teach is a platform that was started on Instagram.
Okay.
By Deidre Fogarty. She is amazing. And so it's essentially a community of Black women educators that are fighting for like advocacy, equity, and just like really liberation for our people. Like it's a group of educators who are truly doing the work. And so she hosts things like a whole bunch of professional development sessions. I've actually got to run a couple professional development sessions under her platform, which was dope. But yeah, she's just doing real work on a larger scale because she's like nationwide. But yeah, so with teachers, administrators, just a community, really.
Dope. Who were your